Have you ever been learning Spanish and you come across a verb that just seems to break all the rules? Yeah, you are not alone. Today, we're going to crack the code on a tricky but super common pattern that, once you get it, is going to totally change how you speak. Let's dive in. So let's start with a classic puzzle, one you've probably run into. You learn that the verb querer means to want. And you learn that the yo form for AR verbs usually ends in O. So you logically say, yo quiero, right? But then a native speaker gently corrects you and you're left wondering, what did I miss? Okay, so look at this. The difference seems so tiny, right? Just one little I, but it makes all the difference. You'd expect to see quiero, but the correct form is actually quiero. So where on earth did that extra I come from? Well, it's not a mistake, it's actually a hidden system, and we are about to pull back the curtain. And that system is what we're here to crack today. This isn't some random one-off exception. It's a predictable, totally learnable pattern called a stem change. And I promise you, once you see it, you're going to start seeing it everywhere. All right, so here's the official term for it. This is our master key, a stem-changing verb. It's basically a verb where the core of the word, what we call the stem, actually changes a little bit when you conjugate it. The endings are still predictable, but the stem, well, the stem has a little superpower that transforms it in certain situations. And the specific superpower we're zeroing in on today is maybe the most common one of all. The E that's sitting in the verb stem suddenly blossoms into an IE. Just getting this one little change down unlocks dozens of really essential verbs. Okay, let's take a look at the verb pensar, which means to think. See the stem? It's pense. Now just watch what happens. Yo pienso, tú piensas, él piensa. But then we get to nosotros, and it's just pensamos. Whoa, no change. Same thing for vosotros, it's pensáis. And then we're right back to the change for ellos, piensan. Do you see the shape it makes on the chart? It's often called a boot verb because all those changes happen inside this L shape that looks kind of like a boot. And this is the absolute key takeaway. The E to IE stem change happens for almost every single form, except for we and you all. Nosotros and vosotros are outside the boot, so they just stay regular. If you can remember that, you've pretty much mastered this whole concept. All right, so now that you have the secret code, let's unlock a whole new set of verbs that you can start using correctly and with a ton of confidence. These are your new power verbs. And I'm not kidding. The verbs that follow this pattern are some of the most useful, most common verbs in the entire Spanish language. You're about to level up your conversation skills big time. Just look at this list. Cerrar, to close, empezar, to begin, entender, to understand, and yeah, of course, our original puzzle, querer, to want. Now, you might notice that little star next to tener and venir. They follow the boot pattern perfectly for most forms, but they're a little extra special. They have their own irregular yo forms, tengo and vengo. But for every other form inside that boot, they still change from E to I. Okay, here's a quick pro tip for you. What happens if a verb has two E's in its stem, like preferir? Which one changes? Well, the rule is simple. It's always the one that's closer to the ending. So preferir becomes prefiero, not prefiero. See? Easy as that. All right, theory is great and all, but let's see how this stuff actually works in the real world. This is how these verbs come together to build real, natural-sounding sentences. So here's our first one. We've got cerrar in the yo form. It's inside the boot so that E flips to an IE. Yo cierro la puerta. It sounds perfect. Not yo cerro. Let's do another one. With entender in the tú form. Tú entiendes. That stem changes right on schedule. You can really see how consistent this pattern is across all these different verbs. Ooh, and here it is, the one that really tests if you've got it. It's a nosotros sentence. So, let me ask you, are we inside the boot? Nope. So the stem does not change. It's nosotros cerramos, and it keeps that original E. This right here is the key distinction. Okay, you've seen the code, you've learned the rules, you've seen the examples. Now it is your turn to be the code breaker. Let's do a super quick quiz just to lock this all in. Okay, first question. The verb is pensar for the subject yo. How would you say, I think about my vacation? I'll give you a second to think. Yes! The answer is pienso. Excelente. The yo form is totally inside the boot, so that E has to become IE. You've got this. All right, ready for another one? The verb is preferir for ella, or she. And remember that pro tip we talked about with the two E's? What do you think?
You got it. It's prefiere. That second E is the one that makes the change. She prefers to eat pizza. See? You're already getting the hang of it.
Okay, here's the curveball. I'm warning you. How do you conjugate entender for nosotros? Think about that boot. Is nosotros inside or outside?
And the answer is entendemos. No stem change. Because nosotros is safely outside the boot, the stem stays exactly the same. If you got that right, you have officially cracked the code. So there you have it. What seemed like this weird random exception is actually a predictable and really powerful pattern. You didn't just learn a rule for one verb. You've literally unlocked the key to dozens of them. Now that you've cracked this E2IE code, what other puzzles in Spanish are you going to take on next? Keep at it, and you'll be speaking with confidence in no time.